There's something magical about leaving Berlin early in the morning, city behind us, fading into the distance as we follow the quiet path of the Spree. The hum of the train blends with the soft rippling of the river. Soon, the Spree gives way to the mighty Elbe, flowing beside us as we journey deeper into the heart of Europe. By afternoon, we'll be in Prague, where the river becomes the Vltava, and the castles rise like whispers from a distant time. Night trains have always held a certain romance, a quiet, unhurried journey where time stretches. As you close your eyes, you're cradled by the rhythm of the rails. There's no rush, no check-ins, no asphalt stretching endlessly ahead, only the sound of the train, the soft pulse of a world asleep. Here you drift across borders without fanfare, lulled into dreams of faraway places. By the time the sun rises, you awaken in a new city, a new country, with the world having transformed around you. Imagine a crowdfunded train, funded by train enthusiasts and started by a former railroad employee. That's European Sleeper, a night train. Normally the train goes from Brussels to Prague overnight, but I'm going to hop in the Berlin to Prague section and see what's up.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Sujata.
Do you dream of hitting the open road?
Of the adventures and eclectic people you run across on the way? Are you waiting for the right moment, the right shot of courage?
I thought that. In 2016 I had a stroke. But then in 2022 we got married, and now we're traveling the world enjoying adventure and romance.
It's early morning in Berlin, and I've taken the S-Bahn to the main station, ready to try out the European Sleeper.
Investeerders die samen met ons European Sleeper op de kaart kunnen zetten. Iedereen kan meedoen, gewoon als particulier of als professioneel investeerder.
This journey is part of a new chapter. European Sleeper, a company born from a crowd-funded dream, represents more than just a revival of the night train. It's a movement, a response to a longing for slower, more sustainable travel. In a world dominated by fast flights and highways, European Sleeper takes us back to the idea that the journey is just as important as the destination.
Mijn naam is Elmer van Buren. Ik heb 15 jaar ervaring in de spoorwereld. Ik heb een passie voor nachttreinen sinds ik klein was. Ik heb er altijd al van gedroomd om directeur van mijn eigen spoorwegmaatschappij te worden.
Ik ben Chris Engelsman, ervaren projectmanager en consultant in de verkeer- en vervoerssector.
This company started with a vision to bring back the joy of the sleeper train, to connect Europe not just through cities, but through the quiet beauty of the landscapes between them. Dutch founders Chris Engelsman and Elmer van Buren decided to make the dream a reality.
So we met 4 years ago, and because of our frustration about lack of night trains, we decided we could start a night train ourselves. Well, the night train is actually a very efficient way of traveling because you travel while you are asleep. So it's time-wise, it's very efficient. It's also a nice way of traveling because it has some romance to it, and some it's exciting to be sleeping on the train, to travel through the night, to wake up in the morning somewhere else in a new environment, things like that. And of course, it's more sustainable than flying or traveling by car. And yes, and there's the funny thing actually is there always have been quite a demand.
Sleeper trains are making a comeback, and for good reason. With night trains, you avoid the stress of airports and busy roads. Instead, you travel in comfort, waking up refreshed, with cities and rivers passing by you as you sleep. You avoid the asphalt and the hours lost in airport queues. Berlin's Hauptbahnhof, a modern glass castle, frames the Reichstag and the monuments of the capital. Here in this grand station is where my journey begins. As the sun rises over the tracks, early commuters bustle with purpose, their day just beginning. Bertolt Brecht, a Berlin playwright, wrote, Out of the station, they step into the train, the tired passengers, the sleepless, beneath the dim-lit sky. The whistle sounds once. The train takes them farther, away from the city lights into the bleakness of morning. The train arrives a half an hour later than expected, rolling in from Brussels. The carriages, with their worn elegance, stand in stark contrast to the sleek, modern trains of the Deutsche Bahn that glide in minutes earlier. There's a vintage charm to them, a reminder that this journey is much about the past as it is about the future. Once aboard, I find myself in a spacious compartment complete with a menu, outlets for charging devices, and just down the corridor, a large compartment for bicycles. It's the perfect setup for those looking to combine the calm of a train journey with the fresh air and freedom of a bike ride at their destination. On board, I met Visnik, who shows me how my compartment turns into a rolling hotel. With a few quick moves, the seats transform into a bed, and suddenly my space becomes a cozy room on wheels. A student of economics in Belgium, he works for the train during weekends. Today he's preparing to oversee the journey as the manager. Let's not kid ourselves. We're not here for the Wi-Fi, the coffee, or even the cleverly transformed bed. No, we're here for something far simpler. It's for the window. The large, picture-perfect window. Our own low-tech Netflix. Here, the countries, the cities, the landscapes, they all blur by like scenes from a never-ending film.
There's a lot of things that happen on the train. You can see the sun rising in the morning, but also in the evening. You see a lot of new people, happy people who's going on holidays. So yeah, I actually like it very much.
But the main highlight is traveling through Berlin, because we are using this viaducts that's all the way directly through the city center, which has lovely views over the Alexander Tower, the Reichstag. You see the places where the Berlin Wall has fantastic views on Berlin.
As we head deeper into Eastern Germany, the landscape begins to change. Cute storybook German houses dot the countryside, their tidy rooftops peeking out from behind clusters of trees. In between, the industrial scapes of factories and warehouses remind us of the region's history and industry. But beyond it all, there are delightful panoramas, rolling hills and open fields stretching endlessly. All it needs is a bottle of wine. It is there that we meet the Elbe River, following it all the way to the Czech border. Poet Heinrich Heine wrote that the Elbe flows silently by. On its surface play gentle waves, and the sun shines brightly on the waters, flashing like thousands of mirrors. The far shores are draped with soft clouds, and beyond them lies the future. The river flows ever onward, and like the Elbe, so flows the stream of life, and we drift along it, gazing into the bright distance of time. In 1962, another poet, the Turk Nazim Hikmet, took the night train from Prague to Berlin. He too was inspired by the rivers. And here I've loved rivers all this time. Whether motionless like this, they curl skirting the hills, European hills crowned with chateaus, or whether stretched out as flat as far as the eye can see. I know you can't wash in the same river even once. I know the river will bring new lights you'll never see.
It feels like we're gliding past the fields and the trees, and that we're floating. It's quite nice. There's something very gentle about this way of traveling. There's no asphalt, there's no honking, there's just this beautiful music of the train rocking and the swaying of everything. It's quite tranquil and gentle. But the magical experience of a night train takes a lot of hard work and planning. Thanks to crowdfunding, private investors jumped at the chance to make this train a reality, creating a collective company in the process.
So there was a lot of goodwill for this initiative, and that made us think that this would also be a good way to raise our seed capital. And the typical investor, it's not a train enthusiast. Some of them maybe, but it's more about enthusiasm for night trains or the romance behind it. People like that, traveling around. I think a lot of people who love that there are more travel options. I mean, our investors, they invested, I think, there are many of them just putting a small amount into this, but there's also people from 250, but up to 10,000 of euros.
Since it's tough to find train cars, they decided to rent some older ones instead.
No, it's two things. First of all, the large railways, they neglected the whole product for many years. So has hardly been invested in a new rolling stock. And the other thing is that there's more interest in night trains. Everybody wants to rent the old coaches that still available, just like us, but also the Austrian railways, for instance, and some others. So the rolling stock, it's hard to become old one, and it takes a lot of time even to refurbish old coaches or to, especially to buy new coaches. It requires a lot of investments, and it also it takes about 5 to 6 years.
While the European Union has promoted night trains, navigating the bureaucratic hurdles created by differing technical and legal systems between countries can be quite challenging.
Approximately 30 minutes due to different train tracks that are being worked on.
And track maintenance is an issue as many routes are cancelled and delays are inevitable.
No, it's very challenging, especially currently in Germany. It's really the infrastructure manager. It's Deutsche Bahn Infrago, they call it, and they are really not capable of dealing with all the track works, and they're not capable of planning a train through these track works. It's even the reason, I think, that the Berlin-Paris night train, so that's not ours, but by Austrian railways, it's been cancelled for months because they just are not able to find a proper solution. And we have some trouble next year. The second half of the year, there's no proper timetable between Berlin and Dresden. And track works, so it's not about, there must be no misunderstanding. Of course, track works must be done now and again. It's unavoidable, and we are very happy to collaborate to make it happen. And we can always do another route or a detour sometimes, but it's just the incapability of these infrastructure managers to properly plan the trains around it.
Some night train companies have already withdrawn from the market, but despite that, European Sleeper is expanding.
We are introducing a new route. It's a winter route, a seasonal route, which is between Brussels, the Netherlands, and Western Germany, and then we go all the way to the south because it's aimed for skiing and for city trips. Mm-hmm. And the route is very exciting because we will cross the Alps.
Yeah.
So it's going to be from Munich and then into Austria. In the winter, of course, it's very snowy and it has the great views, and then over through the Brenner Pass into Italy, which is very exciting, of course, to have a night train all the way from Brussels to Venice, because that's where we will end.
Then, as the sun reaches its height, you find yourself arriving in Prague. The Vltava River winds below the ancient castles, the city's cobblestone streets in the distance. As Czech poet Vítězslav Nezvil writes, Prague, a city of 100 spires, touched by the river's silver fingers, its bridges stretch like arms embracing the hills beyond. The Vltava flows like a mirror of centuries. Its waves hold secrets whispered in time. Overhead, the bridges stand, eternal sentinels, watching the river's endless rhyme. All of it is waiting for you. No rush. No hurry, just the perfect start to another adventure.
The thrill of the road does not end with a stroke. Come travel with us.
Please subscribe to our channel, Fierce Travel, and ring the bell for more notifications.
So do it.
If you want to find out more about European Sleeper, check out the link below.